Without wasting more time, let me just give a little bit of story. Someone asked me a short while ago, what is the main significance of this program? And one of the main objectives of this program is, one, to bring us to meet experts in the community that we can learn from. But I think the other thing that is also implied in this event is that everything is possible. The first time I stepped onto the floors of this room, of this place, was March of 2023. It was just after the Mother's Day. And I loved everything I saw. Immediately that day, I told the person who's the predecessor of the current manager that I must do something here. I know, so it's taken me over a year to do it, but I'm excited because a dream has come to fruition. Especially because the mayor of Oakville is here. I mean, I didn't have him in my plans, you know. So what this means is that you can exceed your own expectations if only you believe. Renee is here. Renee Dever is here. Wonderful lady. Sheridan Edge's director. We also have Lisa Kemba, who I met last year. Lisa is a business strategist and doing a great job with Ted Creighton, who's back over there. Great job. Let's give them a round of applause for what they do. Sherry Ann Bedminster, former executive at RBC. RBC supported us for our Black History Month in February, and they did an excellent job. Now she's on her own with sustainability, and she's doing an excellent job of that. This room is a room full of not many people, but everybody is a star, and it's exciting to be here. We're going to be welcoming our keynote speaker without wasting more time. Our keynote speaker is somebody that I have a lot of respect for. But it's funny that you can be close to somebody who is big and not realize. It turns out that we attend the same church. I've attended that church for 7 years. And I just see her in front. She doesn't see anything. She's right in front of the pews, which means that she's a very purpose person. So I attended the program at YEDI, York Entrepreneurship Development Institute. And I told them I needed help to build new networks. And so they told me, we want to connect you to Olu of CASA Foundation. And so I didn't know who she was. But as I saw the picture, I said, I know this lady, but I wasn't sure it was her. I saw her husband and said, yes, it must be her. And so I realized that it's very possible for you to be sitting near greatness and not recognize that. Why you not take this time to greet the person next to you and say, it's great to meet you. I may not know your name, but I know there's greatness ahead of me. And it's a pleasure meeting you today. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. A round of applause as we welcome Mrs. Dr. Olu to come forward and give us a few words. We can do better than that. We can do better than that.
Thank you. Thank you, Amanda. All right. Oh, stay here. All right. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. All right. You finally got me here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. It's such a joy to be here this morning. I do have a speech, but Emmanuel said to me, Dr. Olu, we don't want you reading that speech at all. We want you to speak from your heart. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do. Pardon my voice. I've been doing a bit of speaking. As a matter of fact, I'm heading to another location right after here to speak and join some of the other women in town, just to encourage ourselves and empower ourselves. For women, we need to keep doing that, right? All right. So, speak from the heart. Speak from the heart. Mayor Button, I got that right? I don't have all the names in my head, but thank you again for putting together such a panel as this. We're looking forward to hearing that, and a few members of my team are already here. So we're going to be recording this and then replaying it afterwards. The journey of entrepreneurship is what most of us are on. And I dare say that journey can be full of twists and turns and adversity and so on. It's actually a lonesome journey, right? Like most people are alone. And when I got an invitation to speak at this event as keynote, the letter said, tell us how you navigated the journey of entrepreneurship in addition to being a leader in the nonprofit sector. I'll try to do that, but I think Emmanuel would need to pay my bill for about a week or two to actually have a good sit down and talk about that. I think I came into Canada, a while back, about 10 years or 11 now, I'm not sure. But I came in to join my husband, who had been here with my entire family, and he'd been working and navigating the journey of Canada. He himself had been an entrepreneur all his life. managing his architectural firm in Nigeria. Yeah, so he had been an architect of practicing chartered architect of about 30 years before coming into Canada, running his own, managing his own firm all the while. But coming into Canada, he had to find a job. It was his very first time. It was a tortuous journey for him. And so when I saw exactly what happened to him, I said to myself, I'm not going to leave my lucrative job. I was already a vice president of investment banking with one of the foremost banks in Nigeria. And I said to myself, I'm not going to put myself through this. So I will come in, visit, and all of that. Because of my role, I was able to come into Canada as many times as possible. We had branches in London, England, and I had to shuttle. And so London, 6 hours, 7 hours away, I'll quickly do a weekend run back. Because I saw what he was going through. It was his first time, and I just wasn't going to put myself through that. So for me, Canada was a no-no. That was just the truth. But my children, I loved it for them because they were in school. You had structure. You knew what to expect from the system, and they were actually being properly schooled and so on. And so that was the beginning of that journey. Of course, we left Nigeria at that time because of a few other issues, political risk, foreign exchange risk, and a lot of ups and downs. And I loved my job. That's what I had done for 17 solid years before then. But anyway, eventually I had to come into Canada because the global financial crisis happened. Yeah, and I'm sure a few people might remember 2008, 2009. And so that was a deal breaker for me. It was time to move. And so I resigned that job and then moved to join family. That was exactly what happened. But then it was a tortuous adventure. As a matter of, I didn't even know what to expect. It was like forced on me because nobody expected the global financial crisis. So what I'd been running away from was exactly what I had to do. And then I came into town, and then I started looking for a job because that was a logical progression. I'd been in investment banking for solid 18 years, and so, of course, I had to look for a job in investment banking or as a banker. And I did actually, I did get a few openings here and there, and that was just it. And I was offered a director role, which apparently wasn't the director role that I was familiar with, because as a director, you still end up sitting in the branch anyway. And that was exactly what they told me when they looked at the resume. And I'm sure a lot of us in the room today might have experienced that. You're overqualified for this. You'll be sitting in the branch. Are you aware? I see that you've managed London branch, you managed Ghana, and you were looking to open the one in France. As a matter of fact, I was on internship with BNP Paribas, which is one of the foremost banks in France. It's a global bank, but they sit in France. So I'd been on internship with them for 2 solid months before coming into Canada, because then we were going to manage the national reserves. And when you want to do that, you have to have global experience. So I'd been seconded to that particular location. So when they looked at that, this particular bank said to me, you'll be frustrated in the branch because you'll be sitting in the banking hall, even though we're giving you director. It's not the same thing. And that was when my husband said to me, you've been doing this work for 18 years. Aren't you tired? Why don't you try and do something new? I attended quite a number of schools. And so I just finished actually a program at Wharton. I just completed my Wharton program before before the global financial crisis. And so he said, with all of these schools, what are you going to do? Do something with this. And that was the beginning of CASA Foundation. And he said, it's time for you to give something back. You've been, and we started. I consulted. I didn't just start. I went around the community, a few people that we already knew in town, and introduced me to them. How does this work? What does this mean? How do you navigate this journey about nonprofit? I understand it's a very tedious, laborious exercise, going into the nonprofit world, setting it up, reporting and regulatory requirements. The framework can be quite difficult too. So how do you manage this? And the accountant gave me, a few ideas, insights, and he took it upon himself because of when he read some of the things I had done, and when he learned about some of the things I was planning to do, he said he was going to support us, pro bono. It's also important. So that's lesson number 1. When you get into the community, who are you talking to? Who are the people in your ecosystem? What do they know? What's their experience? And what value do they bring to the table? You need to establish that. Everybody's got value in them. What value do they bring to the table? Everybody needs to belong to an ecosystem, even if you're new. Find them. They are your tribe. And when I talk about tribe, I'm not talking about Zambia or South Africa or whatever. I'm talking about your ecosystem of support. What do they bring to the table and how can they support you? That gentleman committed to supporting us pro bono. And he did that for the first 3 months. 3 months, he registered the company, he set everything up, and then he said to us, so kickstart that. Don't wait and fold your arms. And I was still trying to figure out, so non-profit. Okay, I learned this. Okay, I can do training. Okay, I have understanding in investment banking. How do I apply that? What do I do? Do I just gather people and begin to teach them what I know from my banking experience or what? Because he said, start, activate it. Don't wait and fold your arms, waiting for something to drop. And that was when I got the idea. I'm a faith person. I think he introduced me as such. I'm a woman of faith. So I think it's also important, the God factor in everything we do. Somebody bigger than us. Somebody who you can get direction from. Some people, it could be your mentors. Some people, I don't know who they are. But you need somebody outside of you who is bigger than you. So that when you face those adversities of life, because surely they will come, who are you going to run to? And that's what I mean by you need that God factor. For me, it's a God factor. For some of you, it must be something else, a mentor, somebody you can run to. And that was exactly what happened. Because at the end of the day, we kickstarted everything. And then I got the idea to start the very first program that we started. CASA Foundation registered in 2011, turned 13 years Saturday last week, 13 years in industry. That very year, thank you, that very year, we started Friends of Africa Economic Development Summit, a platform we developed for investment opportunities because as vice president, we had managed a lot of people in Nigeria. And those people, like public sector, private sector, and at that level, I had to be in charge of, some of the provinces and at premier level. So some of those guys that we had banked and managed their wealth and resources were the people we wrote that, look, I'm in Canada now. In fact, some of them were finding it difficult to find out, to understand because, in Nigeria, we don't tell people the whole plan. So I'm in Canada anyway. You don't tell everyone your plan. I'm in Canada right now. I'm trying to set up this and so on. And I need you to show up. And the reason I had to do that was because I was a new entrant into the market and I wanted to make a statement. What is the solution you are looking to offer people? Lesson number 2. There's a challenge, there's a gap, you want to offer a solution. How do you bridge the gap? And how do you make a statement with that? You carve a niche for yourself. Everybody's been doing it. Do yours differently. I knew immediately. It was a tall order and it was very difficult for people to connect with a premier's office, governors. We call them governors, where I come from. And Nigeria, by the way, 260 million people. We're a lot, right? 36 states. And so I wanted to bring in the governors. And that's exactly what I did because I'd managed the account. So find something. Everybody has that. Find something around you that you've done before, whether from an old country, whether from the new sector you found yourself in. Make sure you bring them in. Leverage that. I knew it was difficult. You will wait 3 hours. People will even, it was a daunting task to meet with governors in Nigeria. Very difficult. So I brought some in. The particular one that I started with, he brought his 12-man cabinet, ministers, because he was looking to support us. So everyone has value. There's somebody you've done something for before. They are looking to support you or your new initiative. Find that thing and leverage it to the hilt. That's what I did. And by the time they came in, and people heard that these governors were coming in with the cabinet, 12 people. Oh, my goodness, what's happening? We've been trying to get them for a while, and so on. And so they thought I had become a star. But they didn't understand that I was just leveraging my old contacts and people that we had supported before, who we had added value to, and who were looking to add value back to us in a time of crisis. We didn't have the capital. Keep in mind again, global financial crisis. It meant that the people that had lived big before were now kind of at the rock bottom. They were spending their savings and so on. So it was a credit card of my husband who was spending. But we had to find a good location, Toronto Marriott Airport Hotel. That was a standard. That was what we had to use. But on credit card. But you have to make an investment, a seed investment. Lesson number 3. Don't expect people to put money into what you haven't put money into. People will buy into that because you already put your sweat equity into it. And what's your sweat equity? Whatever you add to them in the first instance. Add it. Let them see that you have a proper structure. You have a board. Whatever it is you're looking to do. Board, checks and balances, accountability partners, peers, and so on. Put that on the table. and people will be ready to support it. Not everyone is looking to support something, but not everyone can support something that is not properly structured. And we need to demonstrate the fact that we can be structured. So they saw the board, they saw everything, they came, we had that. 15th of October 2011, the first Friends of Africa, we had it. Every October since that day, including during the pandemic, we've been holding first Friends of Africa. The Premier of Ontario has been there. The Minister Ing has been there. Last year, we hosted His Excellency John Mahama, the former President of Ghana, from the Republic of Ghana. He was a keynote speaker at Friends of Africa. Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo. He was a keynote speaker in 2021 during the pandemic. All of these things happen because people see structure. It depends on your goal. So that's lesson number 4. What's your goal in life? What's your purpose? What are you looking to achieve? Not everyone is looking to do a platform, bring president or whatever. We were just looking for that because people were looking for inroads into the African markets, investment inroads, connections, partnerships, sponsorships, mentorship, opportunities. So if that's your goal, by all means do that. But for some people, they want to set up a tea shop. They want to set up a coffee shop. Are you going to get your products from Kenya, from Ethiopia? Find your sweet spot and go for it. I don't know what it is, but structure, partners, ecosystem of support, where you can find solutions to your problems, and determining and defining the solution and the problem and the solution that you're going to use to solve that problem. Those are major issues. And that's what I think we've done with Friends of Africa. I know we were doing that once every year, and then people started complaining, we need this to happen every quarter. How are you going to do this? And then we wait again for all the troubles to catch up with us. And then we come back again another year, and then we start talking about it. And so we set up Entrepreneurship, which is like a co-working space like this in downtown Toronto, because we had some investment partners, and they invested in that. So we took a space like this, actually. And we started that in 2018, so that every quarter, now every month, people can come into the center, work, and get trained. And so the training part that I'd learned from where I came from also, we started offering people, because the co-working space didn't sell like hotcakes, although I'd assumed it would sell. So do your math. Lesson number 5. You're going into business. As business people or entrepreneurs, do your math. Do your math. What's going to sell? Do they really need it? I love it. Will people love it? So you have to ask the question, I think I have the solution. It's my product. It's my initiative. I love it, and I love to execute it. Will people love it? Because if you have a product and you don't have people to buy from you, it can be very frustrating. And that's exactly what happened. So I loved it when I went in and I set it up because we had a couple of investors to invest in it. But it didn't sell for the first year, and it didn't sell for the second year. And I had to put on my thinking cap. I said, what have I got? What have I gotten myself into? Because we already invested in it anyway. And so that's when, by then, of course, coming into Canada, I didn't talk about that. I went back to school because for me, personally, it was the fastest way to integrate into the community. I wanted to interact, I wanted to integrate. So I went for my doctoral program at University of Maryland and did my doctorate degree. We like a lot of paper, a lot of degrees, don't mind us. We're Nigerians, right? So we like a lot of certificates, but it's good. It's good to be educated. That's where I learned a lot of lessons about the isms, all the racism and the schisms and all the things around us. That's why I learned, I never experienced it in Nigeria. It's black, right? So nobody ever showed me, the side eye and things like that. I mean, you know what I mean anyway. But that's where I also learned to conquer it. I have my goal, I have my purpose. You're not going to stop me. I'm just moving ahead, whether the isms are there or not. I form relationships to replace the isms. So when people are talking about racism, tokenism, sexism, ageism, or whatever the isms are, I look forward to relationships that I'm forming, the friendships, the partnerships, and so on. So I use that to, go for the people that gravitate towards you because they know what you've got in terms of value. Form relationships with them. And I do have a lot of those relationships. So a combination of all of it, I just wanted to quickly put that in. So in conclusion, a combination of all of this was what we were doing from Entrepreneurs Point, running the co-working space. And because I'd gone to school, we started the Entrepreneurs Point Academy as a bridge or as a solution to the fact that we're not getting those customers. So find the value you've got in you and use it to solve your problem. So we created a hall and we started training people. I have my MBA. Okay, put on your thinking cap. So I can do business plans. Okay, so I can train people on leadership because my doctorate degree was in leadership and management. So I can tell them what conflict management is about, what it means to be resilient, what it means to do this and that. And I started teaching people. And I started advertising the first person. And in no time, 50 people filled the class on a particular afternoon. And I was like, oh my gosh. And they were paying. It wasn't free. So we structured it as a 6-week program. I would teach leadership. I would teach purpose, how to find your purpose, and so on. I mean, just to give you a few. And then I found other people to join me, about 4 lecturers. And I didn't know at that time that students, because we're downtown Toronto, and we're surrounded by students, University of Toronto, Rising University back then, and we had OCAD, a lot of universities and colleges. I didn't know some of them were students that were coming for the evening training. And they went back to class, and they were challenging their lecturers that this thing you're teaching us, there's somebody teaching it also, but she's teaching the practical aspect. Because she's telling us she has a business she's not sold for 2 years, but now this and this and this are the things she had to do. And so the professor came into class, just like he explained also that he was at York Entrepreneurship. And somebody mentioned that, have you met Olu? She's teaching this. That was how the professors came into class and said, now this is a different approach because you're teaching because you've experienced it. It's not theoretical anymore. And they took me into the university and I started teaching the evening classes. So some of those things you've got to look at. That's why I just wanted to share a few of those, because it's got to be sometimes something that you already have, but you've ignored, that you're not doing currently, but that you could do. And you also have to be large-hearted to bring other people along the way, to understand that no man is a repository or an island, and that you can do a lot more if you had 2 or 3 other people with you, like he said, stronger together. So you could have a few people like-minded, value-oriented, bring them together and set this up, because no single person can do it alone. Allyship matters. It's important.
Lesson number 6. If you're invited to speak somewhere, speak so well that you'll be invited the next time. So you're coming again. So you've just earned the right to come back again with more time. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much. All right, so without wasting time, we'll go to the next item on the agenda.